Hey there, friends. I'm Shamitria. I want to welcome you to another episode of Math Talk with the Rowdy Math Teacher. Today, I want to talk about morning work. And for those of you that may be wondering what morning work is, especially if you're an upper grades teacher, morning work is what we in elementary school call the work that our students do before we get really rolling with our day. In middle school, you might call this bell work or even warm-ups, but it's just an extra activity that students will do before the whole class activities start. And I've heard from a lot of teachers that you're looking for things to use in the virtual space. And we know we probably all have been in meetings where the meeting starts and you're still waiting for all of your key players to roll in, maybe for that first 1 or 2 moments of the meeting. So teachers are asking for activities that they can do while they're waiting for students to arrive. And so I've got 3 things that I want to share with you today, 3 ways that you can utilize that time to your advantage. So the first way is really to do a lot of what you do in the classroom. And so many teachers do like a spiral review as part of their morning work. And so you can do a spiral review in the same way that you did in the classroom. You can post that kind of digital worksheet. Again, remember that it's important to be sure that you're able to do that. So just make sure that you have permission to make that paper digital, but you can post that and have that displayed for students as they come into the session. And if you're using like Zoom or even I think Google Meets, you could probably still see who's coming in. So you could still be greeting students as they arrive, but what they see on the screen is their task. And I think it's really important for our students to have ways to write, like physically write at home. So if you've got whiteboards that you can share with kids, I've mentioned that before in another Math Talk video about having whiteboard tools at home for students, or also just using paper, just asking parents maybe to take scratch paper or take copy paper, cut it in half, hamburger style, as we say in elementary school, and create like little strips of paper that students can use as scratch paper. They can always be working on either their whiteboard or on the scratch paper, completing the task, the spiral review, and then when you get ready to start the lesson, you can review those answers. And if you want, you could even attach that to a Google form, and you could have that spiral review posted on the Google form. Students could still work out their answers on the dry erase board or on the scratch paper and then put their answers in the Google form so that you can review those. And that might be a strategy you use as you get closer to a test, or if you're really wanting to know how the students are doing individually on the spiral review. So that's one strategy. Another strategy is to use boom cards. And I don't know if you've heard about boom cards before, but they are they're task cards that are digitized. And so students have an opportunity to use them almost like a game. They get sounds when they get it right or wrong. And so you can use boom cards as a morning work activity. You would just need to post the link to the boom card deck, and then like if you're using a fast pen, which is the easiest way to use boom cards, you don't have to have a paid account to use boom. You do have to pay for the decks, even though there are lots of free ones. So I encourage you to go to boomlearning.com, search through, find some free decks that you can try out. You can use them with something called a fast pen, which is basically where you give students a link to the actual deck, and then you give students a link to the FastPen site, and then they put in a code once they're there, and then they can do that activity. And that's something that kids would really enjoy, that they can do completely on their own while they're waiting for the session to start. They probably wouldn't want to stop playing. Those are pretty addictive, those boom cards. So that's something to give a try. They're quick, they're fast, activities for students to do. So it wouldn't take up a lot of your time, and you could be reviewing some of your content via those boom cards. And students may not finish the deck, and that's okay. You're just wanting them to have an opportunity to practice. So I encourage you to go to Boom Learning and check that out. There's lots of free materials there. You just have to spend a little time digging through them, but there's lots of free things, and I'm sure that you can find something that you could give a try in your classroom. The third thing, and it's always my favorite, is just to do critical thinking activities. So have a problem-solving problem, maybe a seasonal problem-solving problem posted for students as they come into the virtual space. And again, they can use their whiteboard or their scratch paper to work on the answer. And then you could have students, if you have a few extra minutes, you could have students maybe discuss their answer, either just, as a class as a whole, or you could send them into breakout rooms really quickly to talk through what they got for their solution. You could also have them take a picture of their work and maybe post it so you could see what they were working on or what solutions they came up with. You can make it fun and give a little prize or reward for students that get it right, but that'd be a really awesome way to use that time. You can also use things like Open Middle Task. I think it's openmiddle.com. If you go to that website, there are a lot of tasks that they all start with the same question and typically end with a single answer, but the ways that students can get from the question to the answer are numerous. And so students can really rely on their strengths to help them come up with the answer. So I highly encourage you to check out, some critical thinking or some problem solving tasks that you can use in that time as well, just to help students really build those skills. I'm a person that I believe it's important that we use every minute of our time, right? It's always so short. And when we're doing virtual learning and having to spend so much time kind of teaching students procedures and how to do things, that really eats away at our time just a bit. So I encourage you to find ways that you can kind of sneak in some practice opportunities or even some critical thinking opportunities, and using these ideas that I've shared as morning work tasks are certainly ways that you can sneak in a little bit more math. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.